What's smoking, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Cannabis Creators podcast. I am your host here, He Grows. And on today's episode, we have grower, YouTuber, musician, 420 Scene with us. Scene, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yes, sir. So, for the people out there who aren't familiar with you, maybe just give us a little intro to who you are. Maybe if you talk about it, where you're from, and how long you've been smoking and growing.
Yeah, definitely. So, my name's 420 Scene. I've been on YouTube for the last 2 years. I've been growing for about maybe a decade, maybe 9 years, 10 years, something in that range. I'm from the East Coast in the U.S. I've been smoking since I was actually a late bloomer. I started, I think when I was like 23, 24, honestly.
Okay. Nice. And so, um, what got you into it? What was the moment that you said, hey, or that you were introduced to it, or that you kind of like said, hey, cannabis is for me?
Like, yep. I was always in like the situation with the sketchy group of friends that we would always try to smoke. The plug would always whenever we would try to get smoke from the plug, like a 15-minute meetup would be a 3-hour thing. The plug wouldn't answer his phone and he's not ready. And then it's just like, bro, what are we doing here? Like we're spending 3 hours to get like a G. What? And it was just terrible. So I figured, you know what? Why don't I start growing? Like I started just watching a bunch of videos, and I'm just thinking, bro, like I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like 3, 4 months, I got this. I
Mm-hmm.
got this. And then I started growing. And that kind of, I felt like when I started growing, man, that was like also the start of like my delinquency. Like I feel like I was always in some kind of situation where I was like almost caught. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like,
Okay.
I always feel like, it sounds bad, but like I started because I started maybe for the wrong reason. Like I wanted to sell. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to, I figured if I grew, I wouldn't have to ask people, "Oh, you got any? You got any?" Like I would just have it for myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing better than smoking your own bud. I think like after my first harvest,
Absolutely.
I noticed all the, oh, man, I could have done this. You know what? Damn, I overwatered. I could have done things better that way. And that's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're done, it's almost like you never want to take a break. I'm going to start this next run because you know what? I'm not going to mess up.
Yeah.
Then you mess something else up. And it's just so
Mm-hmm.
addicting. And like 10 years later, man, like I just finished a run right now. And I'm like, man, I should have added some silica because I'm thinking, I grew this blue cheese and I added silica and it was huge. I mean, this is a great run, but like I'm like I could have still done better. So like even a decade later, I still feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's still holes that I can fill. And that's pretty much what got me started, and that not only get me started, that was also what kept me going. And I started a YouTube channel. I had no idea it was going to turn into this. I really just wanted to have fun. I started by showing my plants on YouTube. Then I started getting, bigger. I started getting noticed. I got the
Mm-hmm.
interview with Tommy Chong. I was interviewing with guys like CLTV. They're like a huge YouTuber. Mr. Grow It, Photosyntac. I started doing these interviews, and I said, you know what? I got to start getting paid for this. So that's why I don't have any grow videos on my channel. So then I had Instagram, and that got taken down. So now I'm on Discord. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I incorporate my YouTube channel with Discord, then people can watch my videos and learn like all the tips, all the things that I've messed up on. So I kind of let people not mess up on the things that I kind of screwed up when I first started growing, because I did not have a lot that's available to everybody else. Everybody had YouTube, and like I had YouTube also, but nobody was showing plants. There was not really any creators out there. A lot of the big time creators now, they were not on when I first started growing, so I kind of, I I was like the king of trial and error. I didn't really have any creators to help me out, so I kind of figured I would use that to my advantage. I would help people not make the mistakes that I made.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it's always helpful, and you spoke so about how long from so what I gather is that the love for it really came after you started growing, as
Yes.
opposed to being just a consumer.
Yeah, dude. Like if you smelled it before you opened the bag, you just knew that was some fire dank, you know. I mean, and to be real, I've had some flower that didn't really smell like, I mean, it wasn't hella strong, you know, and it was like some of the best bud I've ever smoked, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of misconceptions between being a consumer and grower, but like when I made that transition to growing, it's almost like your mindset on weed is different. You know, before it was like, oh, I just want to get baked, man. I'll smoke whatever flower I get. You know, and then now, like when you start growing, you slowly start to develop this attitude of being a connoisseur. You know, like trying to perfect your flowers, not just, oh, I'm just gonna smoke whatever. You know, like I feel like as a grower, you treat cannabis way more different than as a consumer because your heart is into it. You know what I mean? You're growing 3, 4 months. Some people veg for like, God, like 5, 6 months. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you try to perfect and you try to be the best grower out there, and it's just different when you're a grower and consumer.
No, absolutely, I agree. And like you said, the passion's there, and you just know because you see the plant at every stage. You get to see that it, as it progresses. Um, and you talked about, you said it was 10 years of growing and about 2 years on YouTube. Here, what first made you jump on YouTube, and why did you choose YouTube as opposed to any of the other social platforms?
Well, I graduated from UConn. I majored in broadcasting and media and communication arts, and I've always liked being on camera. I always wanted to be an entertainer in some way. I don't know. I couldn't figure out why. I started doing music. It's tough unless you're doing like covers or anything like that. And I don't know. I tried doing vlogs, but nobody really cares about your life unless you're like super famous. But then I was I started learning how to grow, and I mean, I was knocking out. I was on my fourth grow, fifth grow, sixth grow, and I was like, you know what? I'm getting better at this. Maybe I can do something on YouTube. Maybe this is my true calling. And then I started doing YouTube, kind of just as just wanted to, I guess, busy my time a little bit. I had a 9 to 5 job. I wasn't with anybody at the time, so I wanted to do something creative, and I thought I can do it through cannabis. I got my degree in communications, but I'm also getting better at cannabis. So why not put that together? And that's pretty much what happened. And then I started to become more serious. I started getting more followers and subscribers on YouTube, and I started taking it more seriously. Then I started uploading every. I'm like, you know what? Because I was watching videos on how to become a better YouTuber. I think I was more focused on being a better YouTuber at one point than grower, because I feel like oh, I'm good. I can do this. Now, of course, that's a bad way to think. I got better, but like I was focusing on being a better content creator. And then I started doing a schedule every Tuesday and Friday. I'd be doing videos, and then I changed it to, you know what? Maybe I can do a video on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. And I've had the same upload schedule for at least the last year and a half or so. And the reason I chose YouTube over other platforms was everybody uses YouTube. It was the best way to get yourself noticed. And I wanted to make a living off of content creation, and I knew you wouldn't get paid really on Instagram, you or other platforms. And I feel like I knew a lot about YouTube. See, I did YouTube before I did like this kind of content. I've been on YouTube for like 5, 6 years, so it was something I was just more
Okay,
comfortable in. I tried a platform.
gotcha.
I tried a platform called WeTube, and it's like terrible. The algorithm is trash, and um, is definitely not the way. There was no way where you can expand your viewership on YouTube. YouTube has the algorithm. They're the best. I think YouTube is the best brand. We can hate it as much as we want, but if you're trying to get big, if you're trying to get noticed, if you want viewership, if you want to be noticed by a lot of people and show a lot of people what you're trying to do, YouTube is probably the best way. It's been around since 2005. It's not going anywhere. It's the best of the best. You know, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, I mean, all these platforms, they're ever changing. You have to keep up with the times because the algorithms, everything's constantly changing, especially for cannabis creators. It's tough. One week you're allowed to get away with something, the next week they're pulling down videos from a month ago. And so, one thing that you did mention that I like is that you said you had your degree, which shows that, helps break some of those stereotypes that, of stoners, or growers. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of these growers are smart people. It's not, there's a science to it, and there's a lot that goes into it. So what drives you to put out the content to teach people and help them progress as they go along?
A lot of people, especially like on my Discord and when I had Instagram, these are all people that already followed me on YouTube, and they would show me their grows. And what I would do is I would make content based on maybe problems or deficiencies that a lot of people are having at a certain time frame. So if a lot of people have overwatering issues, but I keep hearing it from, I mean, multiple people, like within like maybe a whole week, I'll be like, you know what, maybe I should come out with an overwatering video. Like I try to maintain the audience that I have on YouTube by giving them what they want. Because when people go on YouTube, they're looking for something, they're looking for an answer, they're looking for a solution to something, they're looking for entertainment value. So that's pretty much what I provide. I'm a customer service kind of guy, and that's what drives me into keeping making content.
I love it. I love it. And when I was watching one of your videos, I noticed that you mentioned, you said something to the effect of, this is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the perfect way or it's the best way. It works for me. There's a million ways to do it. And is that an attitude that you naturally have? Because I know a lot of times with growers, especially newer growers, and I know I went through this, where your ego kind of gets involved and you don't want to be told that you are doing something wrong because you're putting so much effort into it. Now, the attitude that you have with your videos, is that something that you've had to learn, or do you feel like that's something you've been that way?
See, I know sometimes it can come out like I have some kind of ego. I really don't. The thing is, when you get the amount of hate that I get, of course, I have a lot of love. I have a huge fan base. But when you start getting haters telling you something differently, you know, like I've been doing this a long time. A lot of people that try to critique me, I always have a valid point to pretty much justify why I'm saying what I'm saying and not really justify what they're saying. And the thing about growing is there are a lot of ways of doing things. And I'm not telling anybody my way is the
Mm-hmm.
right way or the wrong way. I've never said that. And I've also never said that I'm some kind of master of the craft or anything. Actually, I hate that word, master grower. I really hate that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want people
Yeah.
calling me that. Like, I would rather be a plant engineer. I would rather be the guy that fixes the problem. And it gets frustrating because, when you do something a long time and people not really just criticize, because there's a difference. Being like, there's a difference between somebody could. Let me start that over. There's a difference between somebody critiquing you and somebody that's pretty much being a dick to you while trying to critique you at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Like whenever I try to critique somebody, I'm always like, you're doing a great job, man, but this is something that I would kind of work on. See, but when someone says, see, that's okay. I love that. That's great. But when somebody's like, dude, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. All right. Now, having said that, this is what you need to do. It's really the way you say things. And I try to not come off like I have this kind of attitude, but I'm just explaining to people my experience. And nobody's going to tell me my experience is wrong because that's my experience. If something has
Mm-hmm.
worked for me, I'm going to tell people that it's worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if something hasn't worked for me, then I'm also going to tell people that. And that's the problem. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I'm only going by my own personal experiences. So that's why I guess maybe I kind of come off as attitude-ish, but I try not to because the thing is, you have to hold your own, especially on YouTube. I mean, you have to have a backbone. I noticed that a lot of content creators, they're not like me. They don't have a backbone. They just ignore the comments. I can't do that. You know, I'm real. I'm as real as they get. And I always tell people the way it is. Like it, don't like it, don't know what to tell you. And I know it sounds really bad, but I'm really not like that though.
Well, I mean, I was making a point to the opposite effect, to where, like I said, a lot of people, when you get those hate comments, a lot of times it's projection, because like you said, there's a million ways to grow this plant. So for anyone to tell you that it doesn't, your experience doesn't work, um, it just doesn't make sense, because they haven't been through, and haven't grown and produced what you have and seen what's worked for you. And I love that you tell people that, hey, there is other ways to grow this. This is the way I'm doing it. Here are my results. And, you can take from it what you will. And I think that's a great way to put out content.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Like, think about it this way. If there was only one way to do it, everybody would be following this one way. But you have so much
Mm-hmm.
controversy over everything. Like literally last year's biggest controversy was whether you should top or not top autoflowers. Now, it's such a big controversy because there are people that have done it and been successful, and then there are people that haven't done it that prefer doing something else that they have been successful, and then those two sides clash, and then that's how there's so many differences of opinion because there are so many different ways to do this.
No, I mean, absolutely. And even to the point of autoflowers, some people just like to criticize autoflowers in general. So like I said, I like the way that you put that out and let people know that, hey, try different stuff and see what works for you, because something may work for you that didn't work for me. Something may work for me that doesn't work for you. You know what I'm saying? So that, and like you
Absolutely.
said, that trial and error, there's no other way to really grow than trial and error.
That's really it. I mean, tutorials. Okay, here's when I started. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take 6 months out of my life. I'm gonna learn everything. I'm gonna read every book. Jorge Cervantes. I'm gonna read Kyle Cushman. I'm gonna be watching this video. I'm taking notes beyond belief. Guess what? Still messed up. You need that trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get in there and actually do it and try out different things. So, so many things work, so many things don't work. And that's all it really is, man. It's just trial and error. That's how I became really good as a grower because for a longest time, I'll never forget it. I was huge into Fox Farm. I mean, I can tell you every ratio from Fox Farm
Mm-hmm.
between Light Warrior and Happy Frog and Ocean Forest and Strawberry Fields, like and Lucky Dog and all these other different soils. I actually had my own custom recipe between three of those soils, and that's what it is. I wouldn't have known that if I just looked on the internet. Like a lot of people, that's the problem. A lot of people when they start, they go on forums and they watch every creator. And the problem with stuff like that is when you watch a whole bunch of other creators, your mind is in limbo. You don't have one direction because one guy's saying one thing, another guy's saying another thing. And it's just like you end up getting nowhere. And that's how you make a lot of mistakes. So that's one thing that I can tell a lot of newer growers out there, people that want to get into the art of horticulture, is just learn from a few people, maybe one, maybe two, three creators, I think, and I think you'll be on the right track. I didn't want to be one of those guys that watched every creator out there. Like I can tell you the three creators that I watched when it came to growing was Jorge Cervantes, Kyle Cushman, and Cali Green. And that's how I learned from those guys.
Nice. And so, in light of that, and people that you've learned from, do you what are your some of your favorite tips or things to tell people who are thinking about getting into it or who have just gotten into it?
Pretty much your plants fall under two categories when it comes to growing. The two most important things that I learned from the last decade. There's two things. Genetics. You got to have good quality genetics. I hate when people ask me about bag seed. Bag seed's trash, okay? That's why it's bag seed. So genetics is number one, and number two is your environment. When I started growing there was so much information about having your lights as close as possible, and it took me a long time to realize, wait a minute, this isn't right. And then once I had my lights, instead of having like 18 inches away, I had it at like 24, 25 inches. And then, like, in that moment, it just happened. I just figured it out. Like, after 7, 8 years, I figured it out. Environment is everything. It's not about how close your light is, it's about having everything dialed in, your humidity, 50%, your temperature, anywhere in the 70s. Yeah, I don't care if it's 71 or 79. That's like important. You dial that in, you dial your humidity, your air circulation. I mean, you dial all that stuff in. That's going to be more important than all the extra nutrients that you give. And less is more. This is something where less is definitely more. I see people buying all the Fox Farm Dirty Dozen. They're buying like 10, 12 nutrients. They got a whole shelf full of nutrients. No, no, no. That's not how you grow. It's all about having good quality genetics and the best, most optimal environment. So that would probably be my number one tip for people. Get good beans and make sure you dial in your environment. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no,
Everything else will
basically,
take.
like the environment is everything.
Oh yeah, man. Everything else, all the other tips, you kind of just learn as you go. But those are the number two things.
Hmm. No, I like it. And you have mentioned a few times your Discord and your transition and taking content over there and with your plant picks. Can you talk to us a little bit about why and I'm assuming it's monetization reasons and things like that, and how it's worked for you, and maybe some tips in that direction. Because I'm really not familiar with Discord too much, so maybe give people a little idea of what you got going on over there.
Well, I have Discord and I also have a Patreon program which is a paid monthly subscription. I do giveaways. I show people pictures. I do one-on-one grow help. But Discord is a community where all of my fans, including me and my moderators, we all just kind of hang out. If anybody has any questions about anything, there's always somebody there to answer. And we have our own thing going on. I think we just hit, I think we're at like 3,100 people already on Discord. Like it's a lot of people. And I have daily pictures. So there's a server that's called 420 seed dash plants, and there's like progress every single day, which is really cool because you scroll up, you see the plants getting smaller, and then when you scroll back down, you could see all the growth and pretty much what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really like about Discord is because I can't show plants on YouTube. I got a mortgage, I got a car payment, I got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? Like I have to have my content monetized,
Mm-hmm.
and also because there was something going on. My boy Callie Green, welcome to the Grow Tent. They got hit really hard where YouTube ended up ghosting them. Like not ban. It was almost like shadow banning them. Like because their views just went from like 20K to like 1,000, just straight drop. And I was like, I can't have that
Oh
content
wow.
happen to me. I deleted 100 of my grow videos last July. I had to get rid of them, man, because it was just a matter of time taking me out, and that's something I don't want to do. So I figured, you know what? I think Discord would be better, and I only have Discord because Instagram shut me down. I took a hit out of my bong, and that was
Mm.
enough. That was 8,000 followers down the toilet. So then I have Discord, and I feel like Discord is more lax. I heard some people have some issues with people getting shut down. I haven't had any kind of issues like that, and we've been on Discord since January. It's just a great community. People that like my content, for us all to just pretty much chill any time of the day. And we have a lot of different groups, and it's not just about cannabis. We have cannabis. We have the general section. We have a spot where you can talk about autoflowers. You can talk about different soils going organic. But I got music on there. We got mental health. If anyone's having a bad day, anybody can come vent. There's always somebody here to help us out. We have like a really, really chill, positive community over there. So I recommend anybody that is watching my YouTube channel to definitely check me out on Discord.
No, that's amazing, and I love to hear that because sometimes, especially on social media, because we all get we have control over what we show and stuff like that. It people forget we're also human beings, and we also deal with everyday life stuff that everyone else does. So to have a community of people in a spot for people to come together and talk about anything that they're passionate about, I think that's pretty dope.
Oh yeah,
What
man.
inspired that? What inspired you to do more than just the cannabis lifestyle?
Say that again.
I said, what inspired you to do that? To take it more than just the cannabis lifestyle, more than just the grow, and add little things like that to your Discord.
Because I think it's important to know your community. Don't I feel like a lot of creators, they just look at their subscriber numbers and that's it. But there's a human, there's a human being that had to click that subscribe. And
Mm-hmm.
I try to show people
Mm-hmm.
that it's not just about cannabis. You know what I'm saying? Like it's about the whole vibe. I want people to feel better about themselves. Listen. I was bullied most of my life. It sucks. It really sucks. And I don't want people going through that. And if I can give people an outlet, just to hang out, talk, maybe you had a bad day. Maybe if you come on my Discord, you'll walk away with having a better day than you started. And my this whole channel is about making people feel better. If you notice, my videos come out at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because that's when people start work. That's when people, a majority of people, especially the working class, get shitted on. So if I can come out with a video, because it's not just about growing. Like I do life stories, I do some funny stoner stuff, and it's all about entertainment. That's what I try to give
Mm-hmm.
people back. Not just the growing, but like just I look at people as people, not a number, because that's important.
Hey, I love that you said that. That's amazing. Because that's what community is all about. People like to throw that word around, but it's when you have people like you and people that really care and that don't just care about the numbers and actually care about the people behind all that. I think it's amazing to see, and and you spoke about you like to tell stories about stoner stories, life stories, things like that. Do you have a favorite cannabis story, whether it be a stoner story, an edible story, growing story that you like to share with people?
Yeah, like I usually come out with stoner life stories, maybe I don't know, maybe once or twice every month. Now I'm trying to think if there like there's a lot of funny stories. Like I came out with a video that's actually coming out tomorrow about the time I almost got shot over growing. And it was like ridiculous. First of all, these stories were not fun. I don't think any of these stories I can just sit here and say were absolutely fun at the time. You know what I'm saying? But like looking back now, I'm like, that was stupid. Like, did I really do that? And it's really funny because I tell people that like in the stoner life stories, and I feel like it I feel like I make a lot of people think, oh man, something like this happened to me too. And then they start telling me their life stories, stoner life stories. And it's just a lot of fun.
No, I love it. What are your plans for the future? What do you have going forward? I know you did mention something about finishing up or getting close to the end of a run. What do we have to look forward to from 420 scene as far as content and lifestyle things go?
Well, we have a new sponsor, which I'm going to be mentioning in a couple weeks. Just finished up the final contract details. So, Grow Vlogs are definitely going to be back on the channel for the next season, which we're going to be running Orange Kush Cake from uh, Ethos Genetics. You can't get them anymore. Literally, as soon as I got them and I made that announcement, they were just gone. Like by the end of the day. I get my beans from multiversebeans.com. Paul's a really good dude. You get your beans like within a week. You know, like I don't. It depends on where you live though, but I'm assuming like if you're in the United States, you probably get it in a week. So we have that to look forward to. We're also going to be going to. I don't remember the exact event, but it's going to be a cannabis convention over in Richmond, Virginia. It's also going to be in Chicago, so we're going to try to make both of those this summer. So that's so far what we have to look forward to. Also, I do have another interview with Tommy Chong coming up at the end of the month, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So, like, I feel like because I had an interview with him before, I think like in September. So I think we're gonna share like a bunch of stoner life stories that he's had, that I've had. It's just something that we kind of started off camera, but then we started getting into the interview on camera. So I think that, Tommy probably gets a lot of people asking him the same questions, and we're just gonna like just do some funny stoner life stories, get ripped. It's gonna be a good time. So that's a lot of the stuff that's gonna be going on the 420 scene this year.
That's dope, man. It sounds like you got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Um, and then just do you have any tips for just switching gears a bit for anyone trying to get into the content creating scene? We've talked about the growing and what it takes to start that. What about anyone looking to become a content creator or do their own content?
If you want to be a video creator, like on YouTube or whatever platform, the number one tip that I can give anybody is to have a consistent schedule. Like, think about all the shows that you watch. You expect to watch this is before the Netflix period. Now you can just watch whatever you want. But my
Yeah.
recommendation is stick to a schedule. If you can only upload once a week, make sure you upload on that day and on that time exactly. Pump out videos ahead of time so that way you can schedule them so you don't have to be in panic mode like the day before an upload is supposed to come out. So keeping a schedule, I feel like, adds to most of my success. You got to be consistent. You got to see, there's a lot of things that people do that's wrong. Don't do the view for view. Don't do the follow for follow. Don't pay for subscriptions. Don't pay for views. Trust me, because if nobody's watching it and you're just trying to pump up your views, then nothing's going to happen. YouTube's going to catch that, and you won't even realize it. So try to be as authentic as you possibly can when you're making content. Make good content, but the most important things is not the content itself. It's important, but you gotta make people want to watch that content. So having really catchy thumbnails, really colorful thumbnails. If you've ever watched my videos, like if you look at the thumbnails for all my videos, you got a lot of them yellows, them blues, them purples. Like, you have a lot of contrasting colors. So having a good thumbnail is important. Having a great upload schedule, a consistent upload schedule. Those two things are probably going to be the most important thing, because that's what you need to draw the people in.
I love it. I love to hear it. So I like it. I think we've got a good episode on our belt. I think we got to know 420 scene a little bit better. We got a little idea of what you got to look forward to. So now I think the only thing is left. We're gonna roll out the green carpet, if you will. So if you want to let people know where to find you, what social apps you're on, where to find you, and anything else you want to let the people know before we go.
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot of stuff.
All right, nice, man. Where can they find you? I know we're 420 scene on YouTube, Discord, Patreon.
That's pretty much it. That's all the social media I have. I had Instagram, but they shut me down. So the best way to find me on YouTube is just type 420 scene. You'll find me right there. I'm gonna actually, if you put anything growing, I'll probably be the first name that pops up. I'm definitely on the front page. So look me up, 420 scene on YouTube, Patreon. It's literally www.patreon.com/420 scene. And Discord, if you're on my YouTube channel, in the description, you got my email. If you need the Discord, you want to get access to, what everybody else has, definitely hit me up on Discord, email me, I'll send you the link, all that stuff, and that's pretty much it. That's all the social media I have.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Well, again, it was great talking to you. Thanks for being on the show. And until next time, appreciate
Absolutely. Have a good one, man.
And that's a wrap. We'd like to thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Cannabis Creators Podcast. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We look forward to bringing you many more episodes, because we know from growers to stoners, every smoker has a story. This podcast is presented by Trichomes.com. And once again, I am Here He Grows. And until next time, keep it green, y'all.